welcome to the late night show.
Hola.
Just joking.
The late night show.
Okay, not the late night show. Hello guys, welcome to the Fithub podcast. I am Bevery
I'm Chibz.
and today we're about to rock your world. So, do you want to start us off with your weekly or annually
Annually.
your annual
Episodely, if that's even a word. Alwaysly. Chai. I don't think that's in the dictionary. Well, yeah, so we are going to do like a little icebreaker like we've been doing. Cool. So it's a would you rather segment. And you guys can answer this as well. Use the hashtags on the socials, TFP. You can also hit us up in the DMs as well. We've been getting quite a lot of DMs with a few of the questions. And in actual fact, what do you think? At the end of the recording, not recording, in fact, at the end, we even answer some of the questions that were put out there as well. Yeah, a few people want to know some ins and outs about fitness. So we will answer that.
100%.
Cool. So I'm going to throw this out there. Or would you rather? Would you rather, and this is with everything, would you rather eat every meal with ketchup or would you rather eat every meal with mayonnaise?
For me, it will have to be every meal with mayo. I was a massive lover of ketchup when I was younger, but for some odd reason, I don't like the taste of ketchup no more. It's just a bit Flemish for me.
Flemish?
Just like phlegm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so for me, it's mayo. I know it sounds quite wild because I don't want to have like mayo with like my cereal, but I'll just put a little bit in. What about you?
It's certainly mayonnaise. I'm not copying. I can't stand ketchup. I think the days that put me off was you're on your way back from school and the top deck of the bus is stinking like Bossman's ketchup. It's disgusting.
Oh gosh, and vinegar and all sorts.
Yeah, it was watered down. The ketchup wasn't ketchuping. There was a time I used to like ketchup, but now you can't catch me dead putting that on any of my food. So mayonnaise to the world and back. I'll put mayonnaise on anything. Chips, sandwiches, you name it. Not cereal.
And jollof rice for me, it has to be, you know.
That's the Chronicles of a Mad Person. Jollof rice and mayonnaise.
You said Chronicles of a Mad Person. Rude much.
Yeah. Jollof rice and mayonnaise.
Yes. Shout out to Chris Morrison for putting me on. We love you. We do.
That's going to scatter someone's belly too.
No, it isn't. Okay. It's lush. Yeah? Okay? Don't try it.
I may just try.
It.
You know, I may
talk down on it.
I may just try it. We'll see. Most likely not, but yeah, we will. But today's podcast is sponsored by Fithub, as you guys well know.
Oh, yes. And Fithub is a snacking revolution. So if you ever want to, want your day lightened up, want some funny food memes, fitness memes, jump onto @myFithub.
I want to have this snacking revolution. Where can I get this from?
You experience it on the page for now.
I don't want to experience pictures.
For now.
For now,
you will have to experience that.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that would just like drive up my hunger for it anyway.
100%. 100%. And you've had some before, no?
I know, but hey, it's what is it? It's like almost October. I want another box.
You want another box? We'll see what we can do for you then.
Awesome. So today, what are we actually discussing?
So today we're talking about something that I find quite interesting.
Do you?
We are speaking about calorie deficit and calorie surplus.
Okay.
So it's
super sad versus super skinny. It was a program.
Lol. The reason why we sort of wanted to speak on this topic is just to shed light for anyone that's starting, their fitness journey, whether they're looking to lose weight or whether you're looking to gain more muscle. We sort of just wanted to almost do like a dummy's guide and sort of our experience with partaking in either which of them. So that's sort of what will take place today. Cool.
So that I'm not speaking higgy hagger.
Yeah.
For in layman's terms, we've just broken down what a calorie deficit is. We've Googled it. The trusty Google search engine. So how it's broken that down is a calorie deficit is when you are consuming fewer calories than you are burning over time. Now, an example of this is if you burn 2,000 calories a day, but you only consume 1,500, you'll be in a 500 calorie deficit.
Yeah.
Another example of a calorie deficit is consuming and it just repeats that. So essentially, you're burning more, but you're eating less, so naturally you're going to lose weight. And it's essentially it's the opposite of a calorie surplus. So you're eating more, so you're consuming more calories than what you're burning, essentially. So that is that.
So I've also got the definition of the calorie surplus. So a calorie surplus involves consuming more calories than you burn, which can lead to weight gain in the form of muscle or fat. Dirty bulking takes this a step further and can be defined as a period of unrelenting weight gain by any means necessary to promote muscle and strength gains.
By any means, definitely.
By any means necessary. And do you know what? Yeah. Let me be very honest, right? When I started sort of my fitness journey, I was very big on, I wanted to add a lot of weight very, very quickly. I'd buy all manner of like protein shakes and stuff like that. And I remember I had a conversation with a PT in the gym I was working at one time, and I was like, oh, how do I add more muscle? Do you know what he said to me? He said, just have 2 protein shakes a day.
Lol.
And I actually started doing that with milk.
Is that with the meals that you're eating? Or?
Like with meals.
Okay.
But then just 2 protein shakes a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening.
Okay.
And don't get me wrong, I did put on weight around about that time, but I feel like it was fat.
Okay.
I didn't feel shaped or sculpted. I felt very, okay, I've got a chunk of fat here, chunk of weight here. It just didn't feel right. But naively, I went on with his advice. I didn't seek any other advice. And social media sort of misled me as to what to do to put on weight pretty quickly. Yeah. And I sort of, when I would hear calorie surplus, it became an enemy to me because I don't like the thought of, though I love food, it felt like I had to eat so much food all the time. And don't get me wrong, I like food, but to eat so much food like all the time just to put some weight on, it became effort. Yeah. To the point where I started hating food.
Oh, wow.
So what I'll do is I'll have 1 meal. I'll sort out all my meal prep. I think I'll have like a dinner and lunch and 2 protein shakes, but I just couldn't. It was just effort. Maybe that's sort of the way I defined it or interpreted it, but it was very, very difficult at first trying to understand the whole concept of a calorie surplus.
Yeah. I think there's a big emphasis on actually understanding what you're doing. I remember the misconceptions of like when you're younger, you're just thinking that this protein shake that you're going to buy is instantly going to make you, it's kind of like Popeye and his spinach. You instantly drink it and you're going to get muscles. Muscles are going to come out of nowhere. But in actual fact, like you said, you saw yourself adding weight. Yeah. Now, a lot of the times with people and what they are drinking and what they're eating, they actually are already in somewhat of a calorie surplus already. So when they then introduce like a protein shake, it then takes them further into a surplus. Right. You repeat that over time, you're going to start putting on not muscle. You're going to start putting on fat. Right. Because we've already seen what the body does is if it can't use the carbs that it's being introduced to, essentially that's what a protein shake is called. Okay, no. That's what a protein shake is combined with. All these elements that's going to help you take you over the lip and the limit of what you consume in a day. Yeah. So with that, if it's gone over and it's not used per se, it's going to store that as fat. And that's one thing I actually started noticing in my first, second and third year of uni that I already was in a calorie surplus. You're talking about rice and chicken, rice and beef, rice and fish. And these are about 4 decent meals a day. And then introducing the protein shake. I was getting big. I was getting big, but it was ridiculous big. Like there was a time my arm was massive. Like the people that knew me, like before, they would know that, this guy was massive. Like couldn't run for a bus. I could run for a bus, but not well, you know? So it's just understanding that if you're already in a calorie surplus, you don't necessarily need to introduce a protein shake, to be honest. It's just knowing about the breakdown of, okay, what you consume on a daily basis, the average of it, and seeing from there, do I need to introduce this or not?
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. But I feel like where I am currently, I feel like it's very much a place of maintenance. Yeah. So I'm not in a deficit. I'm not in a surplus. I think I'm always in the maintenance level. And I do want to come out of that, but come out of it now with the knowledge I have.
Yeah.
But I do really want to come out of that, and with obviously the knowledge I have and my understanding of training and strength training and my understanding of, you know, progressive overload and stuff like that, I do want to come out of that area or arena, because maintaining has been cute, but I want to see what else my body can do really and truly, and then go from there. But yes, if you are like watching this and you've questioned, you know, being in a surplus, I think you need to definitely do research. And I know we say this all the time, but definitely do your research. And I actually came across something early on today. I'm just going to read it out to you guys. Not really read it out, but sort of my understanding of it. So.
No, you're right, to be honest. Even like whilst you're anyway finding that.
Yeah.
You're right with, in terms of where you get to, especially I think a lot of the times we get to a place when you've been training over the years, you get to a place of like stagnant. Yeah. So you become stagnant 100%. In your journey. So even for me, I'm caught in the cycle of over the 12 months, you train for the first 9-10 months, and then what I usually do on the build up towards Christmas, so I can eat with no fear of, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to gain weight. I just go into like a calorie deficit and I increase the amount of cardio I'm doing, the amount of water I'm doing. So I reduce weight to then over the next 2 or 3 weeks to put on probably like, I don't know, like to put that weight back on. But it's kind of like that weight will be put back on, but not necessarily with fear that, oh my gosh, like, I'm getting big. But it's like, that's cool, bro. You can do that because you've been putting the work in. You've been growing. You've been doing the cardio and etc. And that's exactly what I always tell everyone. You know what I mean? The build up onto Christmas, guess what? You already know you're going to eat. You already know you're going to drink. You already know you're going to, do you know what I mean? So incorporate some cardio, trim down so you can put the weight back on, but don't be silly.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So what I wanted to add is that when it comes to the calorie surplus, what I've realized is that before, what the mistake I was making is that, let's say I was on the treadmill and I lost, let's say 200 calories, and then I went on the row machine and I lost 150, and I went on a different machine. So what I'd do normally is I would calculate that and see it as, okay, that's how many calories I've now burnt, in quote. So now I'm going to eat over this amount, or try and eat over, try and match that. But it doesn't make any sense because that's not accurate.
It's kind of like, for example, I have my phone. During the workout, I've lost my phone. And then, give me the phone back. Oh, that's not even seamless. But yeah, it's kind of like, I've lost that and then you've given it back to me. That's exactly what you were doing. Yeah. Okay.
So what I'll do is, okay, if I've lost, I don't know, that amount of calories, what I was doing was okay, I'm going to try and eat as much, more than what I've lost. Okay. But then what I've not realized is that even during the day, getting up from my bed, going to the toilet, I'm burning some sort of calories just during the day, doing small activities. You don't realize it, which I haven't accounted for.
Okay. And that thought process, what was that based on? Was that for you to lose weight or gain weight?
Initially, I had done, it's both really. Okay. I've done that with both, but I didn't then realize that there's calories that we burn that are outside of monitoring it on your phone or an Apple 100%. Watch that I didn't consider. So that wasn't correct, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and even I think is one thing that I've seen a lot in terms of, like, for example, people that are trying to add weight. My guy, why are you on the treadmill for 10 years? Or why are you on a treadmill?
It only takes about 15-20 minutes. And I think that's why even on that point, I don't really do cardio a lot, especially when I'm in seasons where I want to bulk or I want to put on weight, because it's not going to help. Yeah.
I'd say, for example, with that, if you know that you do your list or your HIIT training or whatever, and you do that about 3 times a week or 4 times or whatever, I'd say reduce that all the way down, because at the end of the day, all of that food that all of that food that you've eaten, all of those, that surplus that you are in is essentially just going to get burnt off. So it's kind of like you're in a rat race whereby you're trying to add weight, but then you're constantly finding yourself doing cardio. So I say reduce it down, dial it all the way down, and you'll find that you're putting weight on. However, it's kind of like the definition of a calorie surplus that you read earlier. The dirty bulk. And I had a few friends in uni that would talk about the dirty bulk. There's so many health implications with that. You're not eating good quality food.
Yeah.
And also that's a lot of the times when you're trying to go into a bulk, that's how you end up with a gut, or that's how you end up with all sorts of extras that you didn't account for. It's the quality of the food that you're eating. So, I mean, a plate of, I don't know, egg fried rice can be the equivalent of a burger. Do you know what I mean? These are all, in quote, food currencies that can be weighed out, but one is the dirty bulk, one is the clean bulk, we call it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's about just like keeping an eye on the bulk that you are doing. Per se. I mean, have a burger. I love Five Guys, plug. But hey, just keep an eye on the bulk you're going on to.
Definitely. And another point also I wanted to make in regards to sort of the calorie deficit. I was listening to something earlier where people tend to want to be in a calorie deficit, and in their mind it means, okay, let me lower my calorie intake, which is actually quite dangerous.
Incredible.
Just to be in a calorie deficit. But that calorie deficit is not dependent on how much you lower your calories, because say for instance you're a man or you're a woman, there's a set amount of calories needed just for you to live, let's say, right?
Yep.
And now because you want to be in a calorie deficit, you've lowered that amount and you've not done like the thorough research on how to go about doing that. So say for instance, there's a number that you need to be on just to live.
Yeah.
And then obviously you would then do through TDEE, which is your total, oh my God, what is it? Sorry. 1 second.
Is it density or something along?
No, it's total daily energy expenditure. Okay. So everyone has a total daily energy expenditure, in short. And with a calorie deficit, you need to make sure that through that, you then sort of work out what it is that you need to be taking in daily. Because people tend to think, okay, let me just lower all my calories. Let me just eat this low fat, this, low fat, this. And you're actually going to start feeling quite sluggish and angry. So I guess you need to use the right resources to work those things out so that you're in the right place. And if you're not in a calorie deficit, I actually don't see how you could lose weight per se. Hence why you need to make sure that you've thoroughly measured everything out so you know where you stand. Because just having some lettuce every day, it's reasonable. It sounds like, cool diet. Yeah. But it's not giving you what you need. The energy that you need to even go to the gym in the first place. To be able to even run on the treadmill, to even row. There's energy that is needed. And that comes from food that you eat. Yeah,
I think at the end of the day, to be honest, like if you're struggling, find a professional. I've seen a lot of the times people want to go willy-nilly and do it by themselves. There's even some things that I know, I can speak for myself, there's some things I know that I can't do that I will ask some of my friends that do PT, because I'm not a professional. I've just been training for X amount of years. I've done the whole trial and error with my body. So majority of like the entry level stuff I know, and some of the intermediate to complicated stuff I do know. But however, I'm big enough to say, hey, I don't know what this is. Can you work out my macros that I need to do? Yeah. Can you not necessarily show me what to do in the gym? I already know what I'm doing. But I think it's putting your hand up and be like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. I also think it's a combination of both. It's a combination of the diet, but then it's a combination of the physical exercise you're doing. There's a big emphasis on the diet, of course. I mean, you could do a half marathon and eat like man versus food. You know, that's an issue. However, if the diet is great, and the exercise is great, you'll see results. Not in an instant. No, don't. It's not a get rich quick scheme. A get rich quick scheme, but you will see results in time faster than someone that's just leaning on one side of the coin, either the workout or either just the diet as well. You got to do both.
Yeah, 100%. Both needs to be done. And I think they're both elements that are great for you to explore. Other sort of variables of being in a calorie deficit would obviously up your cardio, lower your calories, but that's dependent on you understanding what calories are needed for your body, whether you be a man, a female, depending on your age, as well. And I would definitely say if you're lifting weights and you want to be in a calorie deficit, make sure you're pushing yourself. So that progressive overload and tracking what it is that you're doing so that you don't plateau in your workouts as well. And then if you're in a calorie surplus, you want to up your calories. If you want to be in a calorie surplus, you want to up your calories. You want to make sure that you're not doing as much cardio, maybe 15 to 20 minutes a week. Honestly, like the bare minimum. And obviously with your reps, less reps, less rest time, and heavier weight. Sorry, I forgot to say with the calorie deficit, yes, you're pushing yourself, progressive overload, but you can have your rest time and stuff like that. So they're just different things to do to make sure you're in the right place. But
I think even something that's even just came to my mind right now as well is just the ridiculous decisions like with diets and everything like that that people going to take. It's kind of like the conversations we've had previously on the podcast as well. Like for example, someone that wants to lose weight instantly, they're saying, hey, I'm going to do the keto diet. But you're forgetting that once you've put yourself on a diet, which, hey, again, is not a long-term kind of situation. It's a short fix to something that you probably want to fit in a dress for, I don't know, a gala or whatever. But you're forgetting some key components within your diet. So, for example, there's some people that are already predisposed to having osteoporosis or brittle bones. And imagine you're negating all of these crucial building blocks within your diet because you want to look good and because you're following an idiot's diet. I said idiot, so it's about also taking into consideration, okay, if I'm taking this out of the equation, what is the supplement? What am I including? Do you know what I mean? So, for example, largely people get their calcium intake from milk. But I don't think people know, I'm probably, correct me if I'm wrong, you can actually get calcium from, I believe, broccoli. Yeah,
I've seen that before.
Actually. You can actually get, broccoli is actually a good source of calcium, but it's about knowing where else I can get this from. If you're going to X that out, just be sure that you're adding something in. And it's even something that we were even saying. One thing for me, my diet is poor when it comes to fiber. And the moment I started including fiber, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how good fiber is in terms of gut health, in terms of how it makes you feel.
The release of energy.
Big release of energy. So, you just got to keep an eye on your diet. And it also, I know I've been speaking for long, it also goes back to the professional as well. Get a dietitian and sit down with them. They'll break things down for you and you guys can take it from there. And
so right now for yourselves, do you think you're more in the area of a calorie surplus?
Yeah, I'm always in a calorie surplus.
And so as somebody that's in it, talk us through what it is you eat and what it is you do in the gym, training wise. Let's talk it through, because obviously people that are hearing this, obviously this is very much beginner friendly. So sort of talk us through sort of the foods you eat and stuff like that. Obviously not word for word, but just the range of what you take in to get you to what you look like, basically.
So it's kind of like what I said earlier in the pod. So I'm kind of seasonal. So for 9 to 10 months within the year, I'm always in a surplus, just over a surplus.
But you are, because the way you know that you're in a surplus is that you've added weight, and the way you know that you're in a deficit is that you're losing weight. So that makes sense.
So I'm always in a surplus, but it's weird because the surplus maintains me. So I sit around 95 kg, so that's around 15 stone. I know I don't look it, a lot of people say, but it's around 15 stone. And what I do, so I dabble with like GVT kind of training, so German volume training, 10 sets, 10 reps of exercise. I do a bit of cluster sets as well. So a heavy workout, less reps. And it's just about, I believe, maintaining the muscle, making some growths in some of the muscle groups I have as well. And what I eat. So if it's been a great session, for example, if it's breakfast, I'm gonna have about 4 eggs. 4 eggs. Don't invite me for breakfast if it's only 2. But I'm gonna have about 4 eggs to myself. Like 2 slices of toast, and I'm gonna have in a small shaker a bit of protein shake. If it's lunch, I don't really have red meat like that, you know.
Really?
Not really. I'm really loving fish right now. I know you hate fish. But
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of fish, guys. Don't have salmon near me.
Right. Yeah. So
I'm allergic on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. Everything's on purpose. But I love salmon. I love salmon. I love sea bass. All of those fishes. Snapper, very oily fish. So it's one thing I actually started enjoying when I was out in university. So just these light kind of alternatives to the meat, because it's much more lighter. I felt like I didn't feel as bloated after the meal.
Yeah.
And I think my lunch and dinner actually rolls into one, you know.
Very interesting though, because...
And a lot of water. Sorry.
I hear it, but I feel like you put on very easily, muscle mass.
Yeah.
So my thing is, let's say you may not always have a lunch, but you always have a dinner and maybe a breakfast.
Yeah.
But then you still look pretty big for somebody that may not have all their meals they have a day. Let me try to do that. I look the same always. I don't feel like I've had much weight, but I've gone through the season of eating loads, and I don't know. I
think I've found like I found a balance. So even sometimes I don't have breakfast. Sometimes I don't have breakfast. I have like a light lunch and then dinner around 6. That's like the big meal. But it's definitely a lot of water, a lot of green tea. If it's going to be breakfast, it's going to be blueberry wheats, high in fiber, as I said before. Yeah. And it's it just helps things move.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about yourself?
So food-wise, I wasn't a big breakfast person before.
Food and training-wise.
Food and training wise, yeah, food-wise, I'll start with food-wise. I wasn't really a big breakfast person before. If I'm gonna have breakfast, it's definitely gonna be like your bran flakes, some eggs, some toast, stuff like that. Really like that. Fruit bowls, and some shakes sometimes. And if I have protein, then a protein shake where I've added, like, let's say, I don't know, bananas or just another fruit to it, just so that I don't get like that backing taste of protein, because I can't stand it. Then my lunch can be like rice and a bit of chicken. This week it's been very much like your halloumi and chicken salad with a bit of pita bread. That's literally all I've been eating. And then my dinners have been like prawn and broccoli, sort of stir fry, mash up. I have been having that a lot. And then training wise, do you know what it is? Yeah. Training wise, I have days where it's very much high reps. Then I have days where it's not so much high reps. So yes, I have days where it's maybe cluster sets. There's days where I go very heavy. I don't know, like whatever I feel. Depending on how I'm feeling. I have started to have like a cardio session within the week. The thing is, I think maybe it's a bit too long reviewing it now. Okay. 45 minutes. Oh, I did on Monday. Oh my God. 45 minutes I did on Monday. Okay. But yeah, that's sort of how my sessions go. I don't really have like a particular sort of vocab for everything.
And what's your goals?
Do you know, my goals, or for the longest, has been obviously to add weight. Then it was to maintain. And I think now I may go down the sort of the bulking sort of road. That's sort of like my vibe right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said, I think my training schedule is dynamic. It's predictable, but it's dynamic during the year. So I always have the first 10 months. in a surplus per se.
Yeah.
If I feel like I've gone overboard, that's when I'll introduce like a second session of cardio in.
I think that's how I can be. I think this week when I had that session of cardio, it was Liz cardio. I did with some rowing and some other bits, and then I used the weighted sledge. But it's because I went a bit ham over the weekend, so I knew actually, I've got to do some cardio. I need it. Otherwise I start feeling heavy and sluggish, and I don't like that feeling, so I really needed a cardio session. So like yourself, I sort of gauge it depending on what I've been doing, what I've been eating, and then I'll be like, okay, this week I'm going to implement a cardio session. So that's sort of how I go about it. But that's sort of been sort of our understanding of, a calorie surplus, a calorie deficit. I know this sort of recording or this podcast hasn't been long as the others, but obviously since we were...
Really? I think it's been long.
I don't feel like it.
I feel like it's been long.
I just feel like it has been.
I think like we're on like 30 minutes or so.
Really, it didn't feel that long, but I hope it's given you an insight as to what a calorie deficit and a calorie surplus is. And I think most importantly, just ending is just listen to your body.
Yeah.
And I think... there is measures available for you to find out whether you're in a calorie deficit or calorie surplus. People use like a calorie calculator. Other people use TDEE to sort of work out how many calories they need for their body to stay alive, X, Y, and Z. But more so, listen to your body. If you want to lose weight, come on. There's certain things you shouldn't be eating. There's certain things you should stay away from. There's certain things you should have. There's certain things that you need to reduce. If you're trying to put on weight, avoid sort of the dirty bulk because you're adding extra flab and that you just don't need. So that's sort of our take on it.
We're saying the last 10 minutes. Should we introduce the question section with some of the questions that we have decided to ask the public, or the public has sort of asked us questions as to, different sort of fitness stuff that they have queries about, whether that be, fitness and technology, whether that be how to burn calories, X, Y, and Z. And we're going to use 10 minutes of, some of our podcasts just to answer that. Yeah. So we've got a question. That's an interesting name. So we've got a question coming in from Alice 101. Shout out Alice 101. So she's hit us up and she's asked us the question, what diet is best for weight loss? Do you want to take it away? I feel like we're always talking about weight loss. It's like one of the biggest trending things ever. I don't think there is a specific diet, let's be real, because I feel like any specific diet is not a sustainable one. Exactly. So yes, I can throw out a keto, and yes, I can throw out intermittent fasting, and yes, I can throw out the Cambridge diet, but they're not sustainable. I think it goes back to my point before of knowing your body and knowing yourself. If you're someone that's a big carb lover of the rices and the big curries and the meats, and you already know yourself. So from that, you already know, okay, if I were to cut out this, and add it with a bit more veg, less carbs, and if I'm going to go for carbs, healthier carbs, I believe you will begin to see somewhat of a change. That plus working out. So if you are looking to lose weight, I believe 2 to 3 cardio sessions a week. They don't have to be long. They can be 15 to 20 minutes, added with your strength training. But that's dependent on your body, dependent on genetics, dependent on your gender. And it's also very much dependent on, if you're male or female. So those are just components. It's not advice per se. It's just pointers. But I would say, do seek professional help. But I think know yourself. Have a food diary. That's also something that's quite handy for someone that's looking to lose weight. And you begin to track, okay, what is it that I'm eating? Even the smallest of things, even if it was a lollipop, and you begin to track your habits. And I believe it takes your body about 6 weeks to actually sort of evolve into sort of any new habit you've introduced it to. So that would be my answer to that. My take on that question as well is you just got to give it time. You've got to see what diet, what you call diet anyway, what applies for you. So I can say, I eat this, and this. That may work for me, but it may not work for you. 100%. So again, it's the whole situation of you sitting down with a professional, not just your son who goes to the gym or your daughter who goes to the gym. Sitting down with a professional. Hey, if you want results, you're gonna have to pay for it. I think that's one thing that we established. we've established before. If you want results, you're going to have to pay for it. Money, financially, and you're going to have to pay time as well. The time that you're going to be in the gym. So you got to have patience as well.
Yeah.
And you will figure it out. You definitely will. And, you starting off, it's going to look long. It's going to be jarring. I think once you get over the first 1 to 2 weeks, Alice, of you thinking, oh my gosh, like, am I making changes or whatever? You will start to notice that clothes are fitting you like a bin bag. And you're going to have to go into the whole niceness of losing weight, which is finding a new wardrobe. So definitely I would say that. I think we have any last remarks with that question?
No, and also make sure you're in a calorie deficit.
Yeah. And also, if you're trying to lose weight as well, get over to the Fit Grub Instagram and we can sort you out a box. Healthy snacks. Also, last question before we go. So this is from James St. Patrick. Interesting. Shout out to James St. Patrick. Isn't that the guy from Power?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you guys have some weird Instagram names. Shout out to James St. Patrick. He said, what diet pills work? I'm going to answer that immediately. I have no idea about diet pills. So shout out to James St. Patrick.
Personally, I don't really know much about diet pills. But when you say diet pills, is it like a diet supplement? Is it like... I'm not too sure. Personally, I don't
feel comfortable to answer that question. I don't know about diet pills. I personally probably wouldn't recommend it to people.
I would run.
So sorry, James. But so that is the Fithub podcast. We have treated the supersize versus super skinny. I hope Channel 4 doesn't take this down because they used to have a program called supersize versus super skinny.
So maybe you should stop saying it.
Maybe I should stop saying supersize versus super skinny. So we have dealt with the issue of, well, not even an issue, the topic of calorie surplus versus calorie deficit today.
And guys, I actually just want to tell you that we're actually done with season 1 of the Fithub podcast. Today's actually our 10th episode, and our next season will feature some guests. Now, you can go onto the Instagram, drop us a DM, and let us know what type of people you want to see, from physiotherapists to gym owners to franchise owners to personal trainers to coaches, to footballers also, just sort of telling us how fitness has helped them in their journeys. And so that's sort of what season 2 has to offer.
So this is the Fithub podcast. Use the hashtags on the social, TFP. Remember, we are part of the Voice Nation Network, so also follow us on Instagram as well. So I've been Chibz.
And I've been Bevery, the fun one, as per